All right, guys, the age of AI is here, and we're here to help you leverage it better, to get the hands-on support you need to take advantage of the technologies that are emerging. We just had an example of using chat to develop a FAQ that's very condensed, like a table, a collapsible table. And guys, it's so powerful. One of the features that we've built here is a interactive sales assistant. So what we wanted is to give somebody the ability to leverage artificial intelligence on the front lines in directly in your sales and marketing. So every sort of platform or business now sort of has a little chat bot or a thing on their website, like any mid-market business or enterprise. Of course, they all have little chat bubbles, right? And there's an AI there. But where that AI doesn't usually exist is in emails, is in text messages, is in direct DMs on social media. So this is where we wanted to bring that same power of what big business leverages on their main homepages. We want to bring that type of technology into our interpersonal communications. So that was really the goal of SIA. And what we're going to talk about today is how to leverage the sales interactive assistant SIA in a sales role, in a business development sort of goal or sort of orientation. So first, guys, I want to show you what SIA is. SIA is an assistant that lives in a few different places. One of the first places it was designed to exist is just accompanying your videos. So when you're sharing a video via email, via text message, via DM, or really anywhere, right? You can have this sales assistant accompany the video automatically. So this is what the assistant does. Is it's very similar to ChatGPT. It's right. It's really smart. It can answer stuff 24/7, but it's unlike ChatGPT or language learning models that are open source or connected directly to the internet, because it's not searching the whole internet for answers, right? It's trained specifically on your guys' business, on your products, on your services, and trained to give answers the way that you want it to deliver them. So there's often sensitive questions, right, about things like pricing or availability or things like that. And you don't want it to try to scan the internet for answers in those instances, right? You'd prefer that it get the answers directly from you, from your training, from your material. And so that's really what setting up the AI assistant for a sales role is all about. Is first, it can accompany every video you send. So any channel, any video, the sales assistant can assist here. Not only can it answer questions, right? It can generate responses. So you can type anything here and it can generate a response from the training provided, but it can also answer the FAQs here. And instead of, we were just talking about FAQs, instead of just standard FAQs, these ones are pretty standard. In fact, I would often recommend for people to put here their most common objections, like what are the reasons people are saying no, or I need to think about it, or whatever those delays are. Put those here because these buttons are actually clicked on more than custom questions are typed. So this is the same thing as typing in a question, right? Except for you're planting the seed for them. So I recommend using that real estate here for something very valuable. And when you click those answers, it's going to give the exact kind of regurgitated response, the pre-programmed response, like the chat bots of old. But when they type in a question, it's going to generate something. Now, this is also where the sales orientation becomes specific for training an AI like this. In a sales capacity, there's a few things we want to be aware of and want to be making sure that the AI is doing. First, lead generation, right? In any sales capacity, when we're doing business development, sales, marketing, we either need to collect a lead or we want to enrich the data of an existing contact. So this is the first thing that I'm going to talk about with SIA. Of course, besides the training, guys, we have a separate resource. I'll touch on this still, but we have separate tutorials and stuff for setting up the resources, right? You can use a PDF document, a website, links, right, to train it. It's going to scan and understand the information there. You can give it access to again, direct questions or documents. Those are here. Training documents, TXT or PDF, those FAQs for predetermined answers, and then the resource links for generative answers where it's going to scan these links. Again, be careful with pollution, right? More is not better. Better is better. A higher quality or more specific is better, but more is not better. So we had another question, I think, last week around how much information should we give the AI? And I would say you just want to be aware of pollution and conflict. So that whatever information you're giving it should all point in the same direction, should all agree with itself, so the AI itself isn't confused on the training you're providing it. Now, we were talking about lead capture. In any sales capacity, we're almost always wanting to either capture a lead or generate or enrich So that's what this piece right here is for. If you are communicating with an existing list, so this isn't any type of cold outreach, right? You're reaching out to via emails. Maybe you want their phone number. Well, you can include that here and make it a phone number field that it's going to try to capture. And required means that it's going to require this information before it proceeds with answering more questions. So just like in a sales role, right? If someone comes into your business and they're like, hey, so I want some information. I want to test drive this vehicle. You're going to get their information down right before you allow them to test drive the vehicle or to learn more about the product potentially. And so what we determined in this sort of field is it is better to capture information, to require some information in order to give information back than it is to just give information without ever requiring anything back. Because for you, the owner, the operator of this AI, having it answer questions for you is of some value, but it answering questions for people that you don't know who they are is of much less value because you're not able to follow up with them. You're not able to nurture or even identify who that person is that was chatting with your AI. And that can actually be pretty frustrating. So if it's in a capacity where you're sending the AI to people where you don't have their information yet, let's say you don't even have their email, maybe you're posting SIA as part of your video to social media, right? So in your social media post, in the link in the comments, that's where you're going to put a link to your video. And on the video, it says, hey guys, thanks for checking out my social post. If you'd like to learn more, chat with my AI or download my resource or book a time, right? One of those things that they can do directly from your social post. So that would be an instance where you do not have their information yet. They're finding your video on social media, they're in the comment, and they're trying to learn more. That person you don't have any information on yet. And in a situation like that, you'll want to make sure that the lead capture is turned on, minimum of email, right? A minimum required email, because that way you're going to capture the information of anyone that is interested, right? And if they're just kicking the tires and they just want information without giving anything in return, that doesn't do you any good either, right? So I would recommend requiring at least email capture in the capacity of social media posting, or you're sharing this link with others to be shared somewhere else, right? Like a forwarded email or something. Anything like that. QR code would be another perfect example. Perhaps you're putting a QR code on a physical mailer, on a handout, on a flyer. You don't have the information of the people scanning your QR code, but this will allow you to capture it. So this is the first idea in a sales capacity, lead generation, right? Now, also, if you are emailing this to a list of people and you already have their email, you obviously would not require email, but you could ask for additional information, right? So this can be used to capture lead information, to add directly to the CRM, to create a contact in the CRM with the information they have submitted. Now, lead capture is, of course, an important capacity of this, but sales, lead is it's only half of the sales cycle. You have, of course, once the lead has been generated, the rest of the sales cycle where we're going to need to nurture, qualify, and hopefully close them. So this is where the second part of the SIA's training is going to come in, is not only is it trying to answer questions specific to your business, it's trying to capture leads potentially if it doesn't have this information already, but it's also going to try to drive for a result. ChatGPT does not care about a result, right? None of the language learning models care about a specific result that you're trying to accomplish. They're just going to give you answers. This AI, SIA, is designed specifically to try to capture a result, to drive for a response. So this is where you would have a title, book a time, visit a website, send me a video, right? Whatever that action is, name it, and then provide a link for it. Currently, the action that you want them to take has to be link driven. So this can be a form, it could be another video, it could be a link to a Dubb video where almost anything can happen, right? They can download attachments, send videos, go to any links, watch other videos, fill out a form, register for a webinar, right? They can do anything from a Dubb video page. And so that could be the direct response that you provide them here. Of course, could be any other link that you want as well. A link directly to a download, to a website, to a Dubb form, to any form. The purpose of this, again, though, is to capture the conversion, which is another, again, after the lead, did we get them to convert, to qualify, to move themselves down the sales funnel? So both of those are specific examples, guys, of how we can tweak and modify SIA for that sales specific capacity. qualify, nurture, collect lead information, then, of course, drive the result. Bookings, form fills, whatever it is that's going to help you either understand more, provide better value, build more trust, of course, move that sales cycle down the funnel. That's the other purpose of SIA, is to get them to take an action. So this is what the training of SIA looks like, guys. And for the sales specific training, I want you to address the concerns that I described earlier. Are there sensitive questions that you don't want it trying to answer? I'll give a very specific example. We have one client that was using it for an insurance business, and they don't want the AI talking about the pricing of insurance, right? For premiums, they're a national business. They don't want the AI saying, oh, well, here, let's figure out your price and let me ask more questions. They don't want it doing that. And so instead, in the training, we've specifically told it, if questions come up about pricing or premium or fees, we recommend you answer this way, which is get in touch with the business owners. And so anytime a question is asked around that sensitive subject matter, it is going to facilitate the answer that we've programmed it to, which is, hey, we recommend you get in touch with these business owners in order to best qualify or best answer this type of question. So that's one of the most important things I would say in the sales specific training capacity, is if there are sensitive answers, sensitive questions, sensitive outcomes, specific sort of funnels you want them to follow, that should be provided in the training. Also, with resource links, these ones are really easy to pollute because you'll often take a resource that may not be your own. Maybe it's a landing page or a website of somebody else's because their business or product or service is related to yours. I would be very careful with things like that because it's going to internalize all the information on that other web page as its own, and it will speak as though their business is your business. And so that's, again, an easy way to have pollution take place or corruption of your data. So avoid that. We want to be more specific. And I wouldn't say less is more. You do need to have some information here, right? You want to give it enough to provide value, to understand your business well enough, but you also want to avoid having conflicting information and even just too much information. I would say if it's not relevant, you don't want it to go off on a tangent, right? Speaking of something that's not relevant for what somebody's asking about or wondering about. So I would say better is better. We were just talking about this earlier with Jai. Better is better, not more is better, and not less is more. Any of those things. More specific is better in this capacity. So, okay, the training of the assistant we've talked about, the FAQs, the documents. The welcome message is just the first sort of message that appears there. So somewhat important, right? If you want to sort of elicit a response or have a certain type of question asked. And then, of course, the direct response, one of the most important things, because even if you have their information already, even if you're not doing lead capture, there's likely something you want them to do. So this, guys, is how you're going to set up SIA for a sort of business development, a sales opportunity. And this is all getting SIA configured here. Now let's talk about how to actually deploy it. So once we've built it, we've trained it, we understand what it's capable of, there's two ways to deploy SIA, and at least two. Well, technically, let's just say three ways. One is, of course, this way. On a video page, every video can have SIA automatically incorporated to it by having this part of your preset. So you go into the preset, right? Your default preset, whatever video preset you want. This is like your main template. And as part of that preset, you might consider having your sales assistant there selected. This way, whenever you record a video, your sales assistant will automatically accompany every video you record. So this is the first and original method of how to deploy your AI sales assistant, is automatically as part of your preset. And then from there, we gave a few different options. So here are some SIAs that we've developed, some specific ones, some test ones. So here, guys, we have two things. One is the external link. So the link to your SIA can be shared directly. You can bypass the need of having a video accompanying it. However, I don't recommend necessarily doing that. I believe people are visual. People love to consume video, right? Compared to other forms of like compared to text only. So I do recommend having a video accompany SIA, but if needed, you can have SIA be a standalone agent. Just a link itself provided through any communication form, email, text, social, etc., and they can interact with your SIA directly. The other method here is with an embed code. So you can see here, it says copy embed code. So this is going to give you an embed code where SIA itself can be embedded on a website or landing page. So that's what this is here. This is a WordPress website. It's our blog page. I have a sample page set up here where we can embed SIA directly on a web page. I have actually two different SIAs embedded here. So this is the final option for where you can deploy SIA, which is directly on your own websites and landing pages. We do have a couple more options coming here, guys, just like we have on our video options. Like we have our little widget style. It's actually not showing right now. I got to come back and add that, but we have the additional options there coming. So instead of just a video in an iframe on the core part of a page like this, it can also potentially exist as the bubble. So stay tuned for the bubble coming. But guys, that's everything on how to create, to train, to understand what it's capable of, and finally, how to deploy SIA in your sales and marketing opportunities. I recommend having SIA accompany your videos, properly training it where it won't ever hurt your business. It's only going to provide information that will help you. That's the most important thing, right? Can it provide value without causing any damage? That's because, I mean, again, if you didn't train it right and it's answering sensitive questions around topics you didn't consider, then that's a risk, right? So you want to make sure that's shored up, that's covered. But we've talked about how to deploy this now, and my recommendation is having it accompany your videos, but also to deploy it in social, right? For lead capture, for on your website, right? Having a section there for your FAQs. We can deploy the SIA right next to your FAQ section, just like this. Unless we're really sensitive on the real estate space, I think we can use a smaller version of this. You don't want it to be too small, though, because you want it to be, of course, legible and viewable. So, guys, that's everything on how to understand the capability to train and finally deploy a AI sales agent across all of your messages, your website, social, and more. And if you need more information like this, come check out our channel. Come join this Dubb Founder Coaching Program. We'd love to support you. See you soon.